Welcome back to the TheCivDiv. We appreciate you tuning in and showing us support as we support the vets. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand. You submit a claim for service connection and you were denied. Well, let's go ahead and talk about or continue the conversation on the routes that you can go to be able to turn that denial into a service connected claim. Let's get into it.
Whiskey 9 Yankee 7 November Golf, over.
So now we're going to look at the different criteria for the appeals process that you're going to be going for, right? The different options you have. So depending on what your decision letter says and the evidence that you have submitted in your original claim, you're going to go one of three options. One being a higher level review, one being a supplemental claim, and then the third being Board of Appeals. Well, in this video, we will be going down a scenario in which you will have to use a supplemental claim in order to combat that decision that you don't agree with. So let's go ahead and jump into that scenario and see what we are going to do in order to combat. Well, first, let's go ahead and define what a supplemental claim is according to the VA. So according to the VA, a supplemental claim is a claim in which you submit new evidence, more specifically, new and relevant evidence that will then prompt or embolden your claim, trying to get it service connected. So when we're talking about new, we're talking about evidence that was not submitted during your initial claim. And then we're talking about relevant, we're talking about evidence that is pertaining directly to your condition in that original claim. There have been a lot of cases where vets will have a back condition that is denied, and then all of a sudden they go to the doctor and they get evidence for a different condition, and then they put in a supplemental claim for the back condition as well. Well, you didn't submit new evidence as well, you did, but not relevant, right? So make sure that that evidence is new and relevant to the case, to the condition that you've been denied for. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the scenario. So in the scenario, we're going to use flat feet for example. The vet that just got denied was diagnosed in service for flat feet. Actually, they were diagnosed in MEPS, so their flat feet was a pre-existing condition. So that means that the claim that we're putting up that we got denied for is an aggravation of a pre-existing condition. I use this one because I've had a lot of questions about flat feet specifically and it being an aggravation claim. So a lot of you guys have been diagnosed with flat feet beforehand. You put in a claim outside of the BDD and then you were denied. And so let's go ahead and use this scenario to kind of help and fare you guys along. And hopefully I can answer some questions for you along the way. So again, we submitted this claim, or the vet submitted the claim. It came back denied, and he received that decision letter. So first things first, let's go ahead and dive into the decision letter to really figure out what we need and why this is a supplemental claim. Okay, so with supplemental claims, the first thing obviously we're going to read is denial or approved. In this one, it is denied. For me, I like to go ahead and just scroll all the way down to look at favorable findings because, I like good news. So in this case, favorable findings for the vet is that the VA is agreeing and saying, yes, they confirm that that vet was diagnosed with asymptomatic flat feet, which means there was no adverse symptoms when the vet was diagnosed, and the vet basically said, my flat feet don't affect anything that I'm doing right now. So that is the favorable finding. So the VA is saying, yes, you were diagnosed. So good, they know that I have it. So why was I denied? So let's go ahead and jump in and look closely at the denial paragraph. Okay, so according to the denial portion, It was denied basically because there was no help sought after getting out of the military. Again, the vet didn't do this during the BDD process or a year out. This is 2 or 3 years out. And there is no mention of flat feet pain or aggravation in the records whatsoever since they've been out. So in the eyes of the VA, you're missing something very important. Is actually one of the big three, and this is the current diagnosis. According to the VA, you have no current diagnosis. I know that doesn't make sense because flat feet just doesn't go away, but remember, you were asymptomatic beforehand, and now you need to show an aggravation of, and that current diagnosis will do just that. So in this instance, the vet needs to go and collect evidence towards the aggravation of their flat feet, meaning they need to go to a podiatrist, get seen, get evaluated. Yes, you do have flat feet. This is the severity of. Then start getting treated for that flat feet. So those custom orthotics, those cortisone shots, special shoes, the calf stretchers, all of those things are going to be a part of a treatment plan that will show that, yes, I was asymptomatic before, and now I'm very symptomatic, and these are all the things that I'm being treated with for my flat feet. This is very important that you show the aggravation of and pointed towards the military service, because remember, the one thing about flat feet is it is progressive with age. So the longer you're out, the longer away from your service, the harder it's going to be for you to get this claim approved, because there's no way for the VA or you to decipher between what was an aggravation of or what is a age progression. So just be careful with that specific point. So again, the VA says you have no current diagnosis. You have now just gathered this evidence. You have gathered the current diagnosis. What now? Well, you go on the va.gov website, you go to file a new claim, but under that, you will have a place for supplemental claim. And then you will upload all of your new and relevant information / evidence on that website for that claim. Once you do that, you submit it, and now you have closed the loop on the big three. You have the in-service evidence or injury and event because it was pre-existing, so the VA understands that yes, it's aggravation of. You have the current diagnosis, and then that evidence that you're building will point and build the nexus. So now you have all three. So the VA will now look at this supplemental claim. They will evaluate your new relevant evidence, and hopefully, if you develop the evidence correctly, you should at least have the service connection. Now, sometimes the service connection will come in low. Listen, service connection is the most important portion. You can always build a severity of case later with another supplemental or anything else, but that service connection is the biggest and most important aspect. That is the money winner. Getting that service connection, getting the VA to say, yes, you indeed have a connection between this condition and your service, and then it's easy to build things off of that. And basically that is it for supplemental claims. Supplemental claims are very straightforward and very easy as long as you, as a vet, understand a couple of things. One, new and relevant evidence is the key factor for supplemental and why you are going to develop your supplemental. Two, understand and be able to read your decision letter to decipher between the different appeals, because depending on what your decision letter says is going to depend on what appeal process you're going to go through. So I'll give you an example. So if this is going to be a higher level review, say they came back with the same information, but they said, yes, you're missing a current diagnosis, but you as a vet know that you have a current diagnosis in your evidence that you already submitted. If that's the case, then you will do a higher level review. The higher level review has a few nuances that differentiate it very, very vastly away from a supplemental claim. So we have already developed a video that I'm going to link at the end of this video that goes through the process for a high level review, a roundabout time frame for a high level review, the informal conference, and the things that you need to develop in order to have that higher level review work for you. If you're interested, stay tuned, and that will again be linked at the end of this video. All right, guys, this is all I have for you today. As always, if you found this information helpful, please leave a like, share, comment down below. We really appreciate the support as we try to grow this channel to bring more information to more vets. And we only can do that with your help. This is Jay with TheCivDiv. Stay informed, stay resilient, and I'll see you later.